there you are. Hello.
Hello. Okay. I've got a lot of things and questions in my mind, but I'm really pleased that we can meet this way because I've checked that I saw you in 2017, so it was 7 years ago. In November, I was on a gig or concert. I don't know where starts a gig and where ends concert, but it was in Progresja in Warsaw.
I remember that place.
Yeah.
We always had good gigs in Poland, and I hope we'll be back. We're going to come back.
I can't wait.
Sure.
So how does it feel? Because as I saw your interviews on internet, one was like a month ago and second was like 2 months ago. So it was before album was released. And now it's like a month more than a month after releasing. And what do you feel?
I feel good. I take everything one day at a time because after having such a difficult time, breakup of the band, I basically take my life 24 hours at a time, and I try not to think about the future. That's difficult. I try not to think about the past, and that's difficult. But I try to stay focused in 24-hour blocks because I can handle 24 hours, but I can't handle the future because it has never happened. And I can't handle the past because it's finished. And yesterday was okay. Today's good. Today's all right. I'm back in my own flat, back at home. I've just recently gone through a breakup, which is a bit sad, but everything's okay generally. And as far as the music is going, like I read a couple of good reviews yesterday, and I've read some reviews that say it's terrible and it's not as good as Anathema. And I've read other reviews that say the songwriting is just as good as Anathema, and I think it is. Okay. And that's where I'm at with it. I just want to get on tour now. We'll be touring next year. And when that's done, I guess if you ask me again how I feel after the tour, I'll know more then. It's basically, I'll know more later about how I feel,
But I mean, you were making this album like 2 years or more than 2 years. So, you were making these demos, then you was writing lyrics. And I don't know this feeling because I don't have any album. I haven't recorded anything. And I'm wondering
how
it feels.
We will record one. Well, you're going to find out because you and me will do a song. How did it feel? It was a difficult time personally, but the music was okay. The music came quite quick and quite easily. And what I did was I bought like a home studio setup with a computer and a keyboard. And, we set that up with a desk and speakers. And because of the GoFundMe campaign, I was able to do that and demo all of the material. So I demoed the songs to such a degree I actually stopped listening to the album about 6 or 9 months before the recording because I knew it was finished and there was nothing more I could do. So I just stopped listening to it, which I've never done before. And I've never been so prepared for a record as I was this time. Another thing that happened in the recording was because it wasn't a band, it was me, mostly me in the studio, I couldn't leave the studio and take a break. For example, when Vincent would record vocals for Anathema, he would take a week. And I could take a week off, and just he'd listen to what he's doing. He's sending me the files, and I'd just be hanging around in Scotland. This time, if I didn't do it, it didn't get done. I had to be there all the time, and that made me work harder on this record than I ever have before. And that's a good thing. So that was one of the benefits of this project, was I was forced to really commit to working hard on it and to make it complete. And I enjoyed the process of writing the songs. And I don't remember any of the songs being difficult, to finish. They were easy.
You had the demo, you had some music instruments, and what about the lyrics? It was one evening or?
No, not one evening. No, half of the lyrics were already written because this was going to be an Anathema album. So half of the lyrics were finished. I finished the other half after the band broke up. So I would listen to the demos, the instrumental demos, and I would write down lyrics, finish off the lyrics I had before, write new ones. I think the lyrics I wrote after the band broke up was like Synesthesia, some of Synesthesia. Untouchable Part 3 was completely written after the band broke up. I changed some of the lyrics in Ocean Without a Shore. I wrote the lyrics for Are You There Part 2 after the breakup. Take Me With You was complete. Still Lake, I wrote some extra stuff for that. Ocean Without a Shore was complete, and The Space Between Us was already complete. So I only had to finish 4 or 5 songs with the lyrics, and the rest was already done.
We've got a lot of references to Anathema in the lyrics, in the name of the band, and you knew that Weather System will be the name. It was on your mind.
Yes. Well, I asked Vincent about it. I asked him if it was a good idea, and he said it is. And it's actually, Anathema was a big brand, but without Vincent, I didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
I thought about it, but Lee didn't want to do it without Vincent. It was Vincent who quit. And we thought, give him a couple of years and he'll come back, but he didn't. So I had to move forward. And without Vincent, there was no Lee. So without those two, I just decided to change the name. I could have changed it to something. I could have gone into a completely new direction, but I didn't want to, because Anathema was 75% me anyway. So I just carried on doing what I was doing. It's not better than working with the band. I had much more fun in terms of laughter and vibes and enjoyment of the studio and everything with Vincent and John, because they were my writing partners, Vincent and John. Vincent like a producer and John like a writer. And I think I'll never have that chemistry with anybody else ever again, because it was unique. It was built over 30 years. It was almost telepathic with John. The musical connection was almost telepathic with me and him. I'll never have that again. But that's okay, because, I have to move forward, and I can make songs without somebody else helping me to write them. I can do that. So I managed okay. And there was no musical disagreement in the studio. And like I said, I had to work hard. So there were benefits to it. I would never say, Oliwia, that I prefer this process to working with the band, because I love that band and I love the people in the band, and I will always love them. And they're my family. And, I'm still in good terms with Vincent and John especially. And me and Lise sent a few emails, but it's mainly, and me and Jamie sent a few emails, but I'm in good terms with Vincent and John. John sent me a birthday message on my birthday, and I saw him recently. We just laughed and laughed and laughed. But, it's still heartbreaking for me. And I work every day on, I work every day on getting over it, and getting over a loss like that. And I don't think you get over a loss like that. You live with it. It's like grieving, You don't get over it. You live with it.
Is this album something like grieving? It helps you to...
No, it does help, though. Somebody said in an interview, do you think the Weather Systems album, this one, fills a void for Anathema fans? And I said, I don't know if it fills a void for the fans, but it definitely fills a void for me.
Yeah.
It's not the same. What we had was magic. That was a family. That was meant to be. And it's terrible what happened. But at the end of the day, this is a new project that has its roots in Anathema, and its DNA is in the Weather Systems album from 2012. And it's just a move forward. And that's all it is. And I don't have great expectations. I don't have great hopes. I just want to make music and write an album and record an album, and I've done that. And it's a great record. I don't care what anybody says. Maybe it would have been better with Vincent singing on it and Lee, but at the end of the day, it's still great. And I still like the album. And I think the next one will be great too. And we will do tours. So I stay close to my spiritual life. As you know, I'm sober and I don't drink and I don't do drugs. And I got into trouble with those in the past, and I don't do any of that anymore. And really all I'm trying to do is do some work and be a gentle person and do music that's very nice and spiritual music. And that's all.
long unbroken line of memory and rhyme.
I got a question about Are You There and Untouchable, because there are two songs and they are like part 2 and 3. And Are You There has a melody from the previous one. Untouchable maybe not exact, but it's connected. You said that Untouchable 3 you made after
That's
hiatus.
right, yeah.
It was natural that you wanted to have some follow-up of these good singles.
Well, I chose that title because the lyrics fitted it so well. Untouchable is about something that you love being out of reach. And that really fitted the lyrics for this song. It was originally called Cathedral. And then I changed it to Untouchable Part 3 because I realized that the lyrics fit exactly with that idea. Also, it's in the same key as Untouchable 1 and 2. And live, we will play Untouchable Part 1, 2, and 3 together in a row when we play live. So that'll be good. As for Are You There, that's been around for years. Are You There Part 2 has been around since 2009. And I just arranged it and finished the lyrics after the hiatus. But that song was going to go on the Anathema album. And it's a good one.
Yes, that's a good one. And do you remember when original songs, how did you make it? I mean, Are You There 1 and Untouchable 1 and 2?
Oh, I remember writing Untouchable 1. I was living in Norway at the time. And I had like a steel guitar at my friend's flat. Tuned strange. It was tuned in a strange way. And I wrote the acoustic guitar part for Untouchable on that guitar. And I was walking home. I was in the middle of the street at 1 a.m. in the winter in Norway, in Oslo. And it came to me, I'll never betray your trust. Those lines came to me as I was walking down the street, and I couldn't believe it. I was literally shouting, what the fuck is that? What the fuck just happened? I was literally like that, and there was nobody around. And I just wrote it walking down the street. I knew it was good. And I kept saying to the guys, this song's going to be really something. And they hadn't heard it. And they weren't listening to me. And I was like, you wait for this song. And when they heard it, they were like, oh, shit, you're right. But they never heard the song, really. Vincent had heard the demo for Untouchable 2, just the piano. But they never really heard the songs because we just recorded them in the studio without demos. There was no demos for those. So there was no real demos. They just turned out great. And I thought they're the songs that everybody likes the most. And I can see why. So I'll continue to play them. So I'll continue to do that. And I have Vincent's blessing, complete and total support with this. So all good.
And do you remember Are You There? How it was?
The first time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but I'll tell you later because it's a bit of a personal story.
Okay.
And I don't want to tell everybody about it because it involves ghosts.
Okay, I see.
Not everybody believes in ghosts.
But we can find a lot of, maybe not a lot of, but we can find few. My English is not so good, and I wasn't talking in English like for half of a year or something like that. But references, yes. There are some references, like the title of the last song, Space Between Us.
Space Between Us, yeah. Again, it just fitted the music so well because I imagined two people looking out at the stars at night in a valley, probably in California, looking at a billion stars in the sky and talking to each other. And the space between us about getting closer, getting near, and it just seemed to fit perfectly. So that was just a happy accident. But yeah, these things are deliberate. References to Anathema are absolutely deliberate because if you look at the credits in the past, it was me. I'm not ashamed of it. I'm very proud of it. I love those songs. I'm still going to play 50-50 Anathema songs and 50-50 Weather System songs when we play live. In fact, I've already written the set list for the tour. And it has Springfield as like track 4 in the set. The Optimist, Closer, Simple Mistake, Untouchable 1, 2, and 3. The Lost Song Part 3 is there. So we're going to do some of the best Anathema songs as well. And we always will.
And have you got your favorite from the Weather Systems album?
Probably Untouchable 1, 2, and Internal Landscapes.
Mm-hmm. But I was thinking about this album, this new album. Oh, let's start with
the title track. I really like the title track, and I really like track 4, which is Ghost in the Machine, and I like Ocean Without a Shore a lot. I like those two very much. But I like all the songs, but they might be my favorites, those two.
But yeah, Ocean Without a Shore is different than the others because it's like more electronic, let's say.
It's only electronic.
Only,
it's all electronic. Yeah. Except for the drums, everything's electronic. I tried to put a guitar on it, but it didn't work.
And first single is really strong, and I've heard that it wouldn't be on Anathema album.
The second single, Synesthesia, the first song on the album, no, that was vetoed by Vincent for being too metal. He didn't want to do that song. So Anathema, if we stayed together, never would have done that song. Somebody asked me in an interview, why is your album heavier than the Anathema records? And I said, it's because there was nobody there telling me not to do it.
I really like it.
Yeah, so do I.
I've got a question from my friend. Because we love your music and we often talk about music in general. And we are wondering how it is that these melodies, these sound motifs comes to your mind. How it works.
I don't know. Melody is my only gift. My only true gift is melody. And I don't know where they come from. They just come all the time. I don't even have to think about it. I don't think about it. I think they may be a gift from a higher dimension, but I'm not sure about that. That's what Einstein thought. Einstein thought that Mozart's music existed in a higher dimension. Mozart discovered that music. He didn't write it. And that's Einstein who said that. Paul McCartney, Tom York, and Chris from Coldplay, Chris Martin, they all say that the songs get given to them, that they're like a gift from a higher place that get given to them, like beamed into their mind. And melodies for me seems to be the same process. Maybe I'm connected to some higher dimension. You know, I think we're all maybe connected to a higher dimension and we can always access it. And my gift is melodies. So they just come from thin air, really. They just come from thin air. They come from, I don't know where they come from. My mind is like a musical map. It's like a map in my mind of melodies and harmonies that work with it. And I'm not very good at mathematics, although music is mathematics. I'm good at English. And according to my app, my brain training app, I'm in the top 0.1% of the population problem solving. But my mind is like a map of music and melodies just come in, they work. And what I tend to do is listen to the music to give me the direction of where to go. So it's an intuition, like an intuitive process. Instead of controlling music, I let the music control me. And if I listen, it'll tell me where the music wants to go.
Once you said that you don't know the notes. I mean, you don't use notes. You don't write them down.
I don't read music, but okay. I know what all the notes are. I know what all the notes are, and I know what the chords are, and I know that that's F sharp minor, and so on. I don't know all the modes on a guitar. I don't know a lot of theory, but that's okay. Neither does Paul McCartney. He said it would spoil Paul McCartney said it would spoil the magic if you learned it.
Yeah.
So that's my excuse.
What about lyrics? Does it come to your mind in every second, or you just sit down, take a notebook and write your
Well,
thoughts?
I would say that these lyrics are the best ones that I've written on an album. These are the best ones, I think. And the lyrics on this album have no negativity, no judgment of others. It's really about love and consciousness and spirituality. Most of the record is about that. Lyrics are a little bit more hardware than melody, but I can do it. But as John Lennon once said, all you do is you tell the truth and make it rhyme. That's it. Tell the truth and make it rhyme.
And this word rhyme is in one lyrics in Untouchable 3.
Yeah. It's also in the song Anathema from Distant Satellite. It's also in there, I think.
Okay. I guess I don't pronounce well the word anathema.
I say it. The British pronunciation is anathema, but I prefer anathema because that's how the Europeans say it. And I like the sound of it. But it's Weather Systems now. Anathema's gone.
Yeah, I know that you've got a good relationship with other musicians from Anathema, but I'm curious if they were listening to Weather System. Were you talking about this album with them or not?
Yeah, I think Vincent listened to it because he told me that it's got a great production, that it sounds good, and he knew the songs anyway. So he was being very supportive, and obviously he's more interested in his own music, and that's fine. And he's going down a different path, pure electronica and jazz influence, and that's fine. But he did listen to the record, and he understood the record. And when I told him the songs that were on it, he knew what they were. And I told him the running order, and he knew he could picture it in his head because he knew them. And he said, that's going to be a great album. So I know he listened to it, but what matters is that we're in good relations, and that we never fought. We didn't have a fight.
And do you plan make a video with, video like with you or other musicians or?
Maybe next year. I mean, there will be lots of live YouTubes, after the tour, but not until next year. I've got to work a bit more on myself, get into training before I do that.
And what about cover on the album? Which city
the
is
album
that
cover?
Album cover?
Apparently, it's taken from the rooftop of the Shangri-La in Bangkok. That's the city of Bangkok.
This image is connected.
It's connected to the Weather Systems album because it's the same camera technique, but this time it's a city at night. And I love cities at night. I love the lights in the buildings. I love the car lights. I love the atmosphere of dusk. It's my favorite time of day. I love that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I find there's such an atmosphere to it. I love that. I love that as much as I love weather. I love storms. I follow tornado chasers on YouTube. I wish I could do that one day. I'm fascinated by the weather systems, real weather systems, tornadoes and storms and hurricanes. And when the wind is really strong, I come alive. And when it's lightning storms and thunderstorms, I really come alive then. I feel very connected to the magic of nature in those moments. That's where the name was picked. It's not an accident. I love that stuff. But obviously, the name of the album, Weather Systems, and the name of the band, it's talking about the internal weather systems that we all have. Some days it's sunny, some days it's raining, some days it's calm, some days there's a storm. And that's in our heart and in our mind, and that's what the reference is with the name.
Beautiful words. And you were talking about Norway, and I'm wondering if you were visiting Peter then?
I have visited Peter in the middle of winter in the far north of the Arctic Circle in Norway, a town called Alta, where he's from. When I lived in Norway, he lived in Oslo as well, I think. But he moved back to Alta, and I was there in winter, and it was minus 25 degrees in the afternoon. And we went on these snow bikes, and we went right into the middle of the wilderness. I went to this guy's cabin where it doesn't even get light. It's like a hazy dusk light for about 5 hours, and that's all you get. And then it's total darkness. And we went to this guy's cabin in the middle of nowhere, and he gave us coffee and spoke perfect English. And I was like, I like these people. I like Norway. I like Scandinavia very much. I did actually live in Norway. Norway for a while. I actually did live there.
Okay, so was it this moment when you were writing Untouchable one, or?
Yeah, I was living in Norway when I wrote Untouchable. Yeah, it was recorded in Norway as well.
Okay, I meant Peter because we can hear his voice on the album, but in every single we can hear you, and it's something different than in Anathema albums. Here you were
He used to be my brother.
Yeah, yeah.
Well,
and how does it feel?
Well, it feels good. It feels good. What I would say is it's going to be a new challenge when we play live, and I'm not ready for that yet because that's a huge job, what Vincent used to do. But when we made the songs for Anathema, I used to record demos of me singing the song, and then Lee would listen to it, learn it, and sing it. And it was the same with Vincent. I made demos, I sang it. So that's how we used to do it in the past. Well, this time, instead of giving the demos to Vincent and Lee, who did a fantastic job, and I loved them for it, and were world-class singers, instead of giving them the demos for them to sing, I just kept the demos and I sang it. But there are demos around in the computers of all of Weather System's album where I'm singing every song. It was just easier for them to learn it if I recorded it first. And that's how we used to do it.
I believe the color of sound. I believe.
On record? Okay. I wonder, have you thinking about making this album yours? Because you've got your album, Monochrome. It was just one thought that it has to be follow-up Anathema.
Yeah, that was the thought. I didn't want to make a solo album. I didn't want to make a solo career. I wanted to make a band.
Okay.
First thought.
And it's interesting because you made an album with musicians from 3 countries. And it doesn't sound like you haven't met in the studio.
Well, we didn't. It was all done over the internet. But it worked out great. But next time I'd like to bring them to the studio, if I could. It's better that way.
Yeah.
I think it would help better to have a producer, instead of recording on his own in his office, But Soraya, it worked out great because she was produced by Daniel Cardoso in his studio. He sent the files. And he compiled her vocals and they added harmonies that I didn't write and stuff. So that worked out really well. That's the way things are now. You can do things online like that. But I would have preferred to bring them to the studio, and I tried to, but there wasn't a budget for that.
Yeah.
I hope there will be next time.
And Peter's voice is also sent from Norway, so it's like...
That's right, yeah. He's a fantastic singer. He's a great songwriter as well. We're going to do one of his songs on the tour called Spirits in Need, which is an amazing song. If you haven't heard that, listen to it after the interview.
I've heard.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, I know that. We can go back to the previous your albums because you started talking about your favorite songs, generally your songs, and you said about Untouchable No.
One of my favorite songs we ever did is called The Optimist. I really like that one. I like that one more than Dreaming Light. I love The Optimist. I love Springfield. I love San Francisco. The Lost Song Part 3, the live version that Anathema used to do. I like A Simple Mistake a lot. Closer, The list goes on.
Is there one song you can just think about one?
The biggest song is probably Untouchable, 1 and 2. But my personal favourite is probably The Optimist. I love the end of that song, that riff. Wrote it in the shower.
Really?
Yeah, I wrote it in the shower in my head. Yeah, I like The Optimist is probably my favourite one.
So music comes to your mind in every single moment of the day and in every place, let's say?
Yeah, I wrote the guitar solo for Flying, walking down the street in Liverpool city centre. It happens all the time. I don't have to be as an instrument to write something. But obviously, when I get home and I play the piano or the guitar, that's when it comes to life properly. But I am able to just write stuff in my head and hopefully remember it. I usually make voice recordings of them. And sometimes great parts just come from playing and improvising. Like the electric piano on The Lost Song Part 3 came in a session with the band making a demo in Portugal, demos of Distant Satellites with the producer, and it just came. And what are you eating, ice cream?
No, it's coffee.
Yeah, where was I? Yes, obviously sometimes it comes from putting your hands on a piano. And often I used to write riffs when I was recording piano for albums. I remember the riff for Still Lake. I was recording the piano on Untouchable Part 2. And during the breaks of recording, I played something else, and that was Still Lake. So it happens like that as well, you know, and sometimes you get in a flow where you're recording something and then new stuff comes. And as long as it keeps coming, you know, I'm not complaining. I've written half of the next album already, and I never usually write that fast. I don't mean the lyrics, but a lot of the music for a lot of songs is coming together very quickly. As long as the melodies and the chords are there, I'm okay, you know.
But do you have some plans, like, you know, today or tomorrow, 2 p.m., I sit down and write down some lyrics? Does it work or no?
No, I don't do it that way. Maybe I should, but I don't do it that way. I usually write the words when they need to be written.
On napkin?
You know. No, I've got a lyric book somewhere. I've got a lyric book that I write them in. And I also write them on the phone as well.
It's an amazing thing that, you know, some people have such things inside them. This music, these lyrics comes from them, and it's natural. Like, I feel it's natural in you.
It is. It's natural. And it comes from inside, you know. Maybe it comes from the higher place, you know, a higher part of your consciousness, a higher part of your mind gives you these melodies, and then you work with them and mold them, let them mold themselves. Like I said, with lyrics, it's a little different because it's a little bit more conscious. The one time that it wasn't conscious was when we did a demo. Anathema was still together, and we were trying all day to write lyrics and vocals for the song Do Angels Sing Like Rain. The music was recorded. Vincent and Lee went to takeaway food shop for about 30 minutes, and I wrote all of the lyrics for that song in about 5 minutes, just stream of consciousness. And I recorded it, and that's the first take, and that's what you hear on the album. So they were written in 5 minutes when Vincent and Lee were at the shop. When they came back, I said, I've done this song. I recorded it, and Vincent had a real look in his eyes, you know. And that was going to be the next Anathema record. So I just kept that vocal from the demo. Nice. So that's the first time it was written 5 minutes before it was recorded, well, half an hour before it was recorded. And then I recorded it once, and that's what you hear on the album.
Mm-hmm. And do you know the path in which direction goes Weather Systems, or
for the next record?
Yes.
Well, no, I don't know yet. But I know that I'm writing more on piano at the moment. And there was much more guitar songs on this album. And at the moment, all of my songs are on piano. But, you know, that can change. Yeah, I just wait and see. I don't know yet. I just think it'll be good. It'll be a good album. That's what I think.
Okay, thank you very much for this conversation, for this meeting. It means a lot to me because it was a really nice journey to observe this process, to be a small part of it. And it's touching for me that I can now play this album. I can't wait for the tour, for the next album, next songs. And I cross fingers for you, for everybody of the band. And yeah, thank you very much for this.
Thank you.
Are you there? Is it wonderful to know all the God